Alright, so just so that you guys know, this section 2-4 starts on page 76, and we're going to stretch it out over 2 days. So I'm going to do one part today and then one part tomorrow. Then on Thursday, I'm going to give you guys a review worksheet. Friday, there'll be a review assignment for the chapter. Just so that you guys know that that's how close we are to getting done with the chapter. Okay? So with this section, what you're going to do, just so that you guys know, you're going to be writing quadratic equations. Okay? That's what's going to happen. Today we're going to do it one way. Tomorrow we're going to do it another way. All right? Now, how we do the first way is we're going to revisit this type of scenario. Y equals ax minus h, the quantity squared, plus k. What form is that called? I gave it to you a couple days ago. Do you guys remember? Standard. Not standard. Standard is if it's all multiplied out and it says ax squared plus bx plus c. Oh, here are your options. Your options from the first half of the chapter were standard form, which was ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form, which was a parentheses x minus h, the quantity squared, plus k. Or intercepts form, which was a parentheses x minus p parentheses parentheses x minus q parentheses. That one. So which one is this? It's vertex form. Goofballs. Okay. That's one of the ways that we're going to use it. Now here's what's going to happen for you guys. On some of the problems, they're going to give you a vertex. A vertex, remember, is h and k. And then they're going to give you another arbitrary ordered pair that's on the graph. So that's an x and a y. So if I give you the x and a y and I give you an h and a k, what's the only letter I didn't give you? A. So that's what you're going to have to work backwards to find. And all we have to do is plug in our knowns and see what we get. Okay? So that's the first way. The second way that we're going to have is we're also going to be showing you this method. X minus P, X minus Q. What kind of format is that one? That's intercepts form. Guess what they're going to do for this one? I'm going to give you the intercepts, and I'm going to give you a point, and you've got to work backwards to solve for A. What this involves today is a lot of you plugging in the numbers and solving for A. That's what you're going to have to do. Okay? You're going to have to plug in the numbers and see what you get for A. That's how we have to do this. So on the first one, here's what it's going to do. A lot of times they'll give you a picture. Okay? They'll give you something like this, and it'll say, and it's looking like that, where this is the top. It says 25 and 30. And then right here, it says 0 and 20. So, is this giving you the x-intercepts? Does it give you the x-intercepts on this problem? No. Does it tell you where it hits the x-axis? Which one's the x-axis, you guys? The top one that goes this way or the bottom one that goes horizontally? Yeah, this one's the x-intercepts down here. Does it say where it crosses there? No. If it does not say where it crosses the x-axis, then you have to use vertex form. What's the vertex in this problem? What's the high point? 25 and 30. This is the h and the k. The vertex is nothing more than where is the high point at. Then this over here, yes, it's the y-intercept, but it's also just an ordered pair of x and y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug everything in that I can, and I'm going to figure out what the a is. So again, I'm going to use this formula. Y equals a x minus h, the quantity squared, plus k. So plug in what you know. What's the y coordinate that we have? 20. Do you know how big a is? No, not yet. What's the x coordinate? 0. Minus, what's the h coordinate? 25. Squared plus, what's the k? 30. Now, again, all we're doing is we're inserting our numbers that we have, and now we're going to work backwards to solve for a. That's it. So let's simplify the parentheses first. What's 0 minus 25? What is negative 25 squared? Huh? Not 50. Negative 25 times negative 25 is not 50. It's a whole lot bigger than that. 625. Here's what it's not. It's not negative 625 either. You're not taking negative 25 squared. You're in parentheses saying negative 25 times negative 25. So you get 625a plus 30. Now, how do I solve for a? Subtract 30. What's 20 minus 30? Negative 10. Equals 625a. How do I solve for a? Divide by 625 to both sides. And that reduces. What you don't want to do is you don't want to automatically take the big number divided by the little number. Because 625 divided by negative 10 is not near the answer. But what number goes into both 10 and 625? 5. So what does it reduce down to? Negative 2 over 125. Okay? So now, here's what the answer wants you to write. It will say, what is the equation that represents this graph? That's what it will ask you to do. Now, just because 0 and 20 was on the graph does not mean that it goes back into the equation. Because how many ordered pairs are actually on my curve? A lot. Okay, they show you 2 just so that you can get the answer. But on the curve itself, there's too many to count. 0, 20 is just one particular space and time. You do not put 0 and 20 back into the equation. You do, however, put the vertex in. Okay? So my final answer is y equals, what do we get for the a? Negative 2 over 125. X minus, what did you put in there for the h? 25. Squared plus, what did you put for the k? 30. That's the equation.
This is the top of Archie and is it always going to be the h?
Yeah. Or, Tamara, also the bottom. You remember when we did the min and the max? You were actually, when you're finding the max, you were finding the high point of the, you were finding the height, you were finding the vertex. And when you found the minimum, you're actually finding the vertex. All those are the same. Okay? Now, if they don't give you a picture, the only other way that they're going to give it to you is they're going to give you an ordered pair, and they're going to give you a vertex without a picture. So on something like that, here's what it'll say. It'll say passes through negative 7, negative 15, and has a vertex of negative 5, 9er. Okay? So it says passes through negative 7, negative 15, and has a vertex of negative 5, 9er. So from here, let's plug in what we know, and which formula are we going to use? Vertex form. Why are we using vertex form? Because you're given the vertex, and you're given another point. That's why. So, y equals a x minus h, the quantity squared, plus k. What is my y coordinate? Negative 15. Savannah, x, y.
I thought that was a 5 up there.
H. Okay. Do you know what's in your a? No, not yet. That's what we're going to find. What's the x coordinate? -7 minus, what's in your h coordinate? -5 squared plus, what's your k? 9. Now, listening to some of you guys inserting the numbers, you guys were getting your stuff backwards. If it helps you, notice what I did up here. I did this on purpose. The order pair that I gave you, I put x and y, and then the other one that I put over here, because it was a vertex, I put h and k. If that helps, do that. I know I've had to do that because with me, my problem with math is a lot of times I move too fast and I put numbers in the wrong spot. You put a number in the wrong spot, guess what happens? You get it wrong. So just be careful. Now let's clean up the parentheses first. -7 minus a -5. Two negatives make that go what? Make that go positive, right? And what is -7 plus 5? -2. What's -2 squared? 4. Plus 9. Okay, how do I solve for A? Subtract 9 first. What's -15 minus 9? -24? Is that what you said, Alan? Yep. Good job. Then what? Divide by 4. And -24 divided by 4 is? -6. So now, here's the problem that I've had with a lot of people, not necessarily you, but also when we write equations of lines. A lot of people get that number, and then they stop and they think, oh, I did great. But you didn't even answer the question. The question says, what's the equation? It does not say, what's A? If it said, what's A, great job. But it says, what's the equation? So now when you rewrite it, the x and the y, the -7 and the -15, were just one spot on that curve. So we're representing all spots on it. So it's y equals, what'd you just get for A? -6, x, and then when I put the h in there, a negative and a negative make it a positive. And then what was your k? 9er. Good job. Can you handle that? Yes. Half of your assignment is just like that. Okay? Now, the other half of your assignment is very similar to this. The only difference is now I'm going to give you intercepts instead of the h and the k. Okay? So now, if it says something like this, where it gives you a picture, like so, like that. That's a really good picture. -1, 0, 2, 0, 1, -2. Does the 1, -2 have to be the vertex? No, it doesn't. It might look like it is, but maybe it's not. Okay? What you're going to be asked to do in this one is it's going to say, write the equation of a parabola in intercept form. So intercept form was the other one I gave you today, and that was y equals ax minus p, x minus q. What were the p and the q? Do you remember? The what? The x-intercepts. Right. That's what p and q was. The p and the q were the x-intercepts. Do you have those on here? Yeah. That's why we use this form, because we have the intercepts. Does it show where it crosses the x-axis? That's what I'm asking you. Yeah, it does right there. So that's why I use this form. Now the 1 and the -2, I kind of put it almost to look like the vertex, but does it have to be the vertex? No. If it is, okay, awesome. But it doesn't have to be, because in my problem, does it say h and k anywhere? No. But here's what it does say. When I'm putting them in there or labeling them, I go left to right. So this is P and this is Q. That other ordered pair that's on there, the 1 and the negative 2, that's your x and your y. It might be the vertex, but it might not also. So it doesn't really matter at this point because, again, for this problem, there is no h and k in the equation at all. So now, let's plug in what we know. Do we know the y? What is the y-coordinate of the point we're using? Negative 2. Do you know what's in your a? No. Do you know what the x-coordinate is that you're using? What is it? Minus. What number are we putting in for p?
-1.
And then what's in your x-coordinate again? Notice how we had to use that 1 twice? Okay. Now what's in your q?
2.
All right, so simplify inside the grouping symbols first. What's 2 negatives in a row do? So that's 1 plus 1. That's still 1 minus 2. What's 1 plus 1?
2.
And what's 1 minus 2? And when I multiply all that together, negative 1 times positive 2 times a is negative 2a. And then how do you solve for a? What's negative 2 divided by negative 2? Uno. Correcto. Now again, the directions are going to say write the equation. It's not going to say what's a. It wants you to tell me what the equation is. So what pieces stay and what piece goes? The what stays, Abby? The p and q stay, and the x's and y's go back to the letter. Okay? So y equals, what was in the a? 1. I'm putting it there just so that I show you what it looks like. Do you have to put a 1 there if it's a 1? No. But I'm just showing you that's where it goes for this one. X. And then when I put negative 1 in there, what happens? Change it to a positive, so x plus 1. And then x minus 2. And done. What do you guys think? And again, that's where if it gives you the picture. What if it doesn't give you the picture and just tells you what they are? Can you put them in there?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because that's how it is today. If it gives you the vertex, guess which one you use? The first one. If it gives you the intercepts, guess which one you use? This one. Plug in what you know, solve for a. Then rewrite the equation. So starting on page 80, and it goes to 81, 3 through 19, odds.